If you're just starting learning simplifying complex fractions, or it's something that has always confused you, then this video is made for you. In this video, I'm just going to go over the basic understanding for simplifying complex fractions, as well as go over 3 typical examples that will give you a good understanding of how to approach these types of problems. So let's just get into actually some fundamentals from the beginning, just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page. So if you remember, way back in the day, we learned how to divide fractions. 1/2 divided by 1/3. Now, a lot of you probably remember when you're dividing fractions, you just flip and multiply. So therefore, we can rewrite this as 1/2 times 3/1. Then multiplying fractions, you just multiply straight across. 1 times 3, 2 times 1. And the final answer is going to be a 3/2. Right? So sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, way back in the day. I don't know, like 4th, 5th grade or something like that. Well, a lot of times we just write the fractions like this, right? But we could also write the fraction like this, 1/2 divided by a 1/3, right? It's the exact same thing as 1/2 divided by 1/3. Now, we know we're going to rewrite this as multiplying. So how does that look when we're writing it like this, which would be kind of like a complex fraction, a fraction divided by another fraction? Well, what we want to do, or what I want you to kind of see from this, is we are doing the same thing. When we multiply by 3/1 in this denominator, that's going to multiply to take this denominator equal to 1. But if we want to create what we call an equivalent fraction, whatever we do in the denominator, we also have to do in the numerator, right? So therefore, this now multiplies to 1 because it's a fraction multiplied by a reciprocal. And then over here, we have the exact same problem that we have. So we have a 3 divided by 2. But the cool thing is divided by 1. So therefore, it's rewritten as just a 3/2. Now, I agree. Flip and multiply is a lot easier to remember and to initially digest. But I want you to understand this fundamentals in this case, because that's exactly what we're going to exploring with simplifying simplifying complex fractions. One other thing I want to cover real quick before we get into these problems is also another example that we would cover way back in the day, a little bit older in this case, but what about when we had fractions and we're trying to solve a linear equation? Now, you could use fractions and use fraction operations to be able to solve this using your inverse operations and stuff like that, and that's perfectly fine. But a lot of times we say, why don't we, to make our life a lot easier, why don't we just get rid of the fractions? And so to do that, we want to multiply by the LCD, the least common denominator of all of our fractions. And in this case, that least common denominator would be a 6. So if I multiply everything times a 6, what that's going to do is that's going to eliminate my denominator, because my denominators 2, 6, and 3 all evenly divide into 6, because technically we're multiplying by a 6/1. So 2 divides into 6 3 times, so this turns into a 3x. 6 divides into 6 one time, 1 times 5 is going to be a 5. And then 3 divides into 6 2 times, 2 times 1 is equal to 2. Now you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is a lot easier fraction to be able to go ahead and solve, right? Okay, so those are the 2 fundamentals that I want to make sure you understand before we get into simplifying rational expressions. Now let's go and look at some of the craziness of rational expressions, or simplifying rational expressions, and hopefully kind of turn them into something that's really not that bad. So our first example, we're going to have an x plus 3 divided by 2x minus 3, and then an x plus 3, said x plus 3, but I didn't write it, x plus 3 divided by a 2x plus 3. Now they look very, very similar, but you can see that one is a 2x minus 3, one's a 2x plus 3, yada yada. We can cover, the restrictions on this. Sometimes textbooks or teachers' class, it all depends on where you're learning it. But remember, you can't divide by 0, right? So one thing we can do is, look at what values are going to make our denominator equal to 0. In this case, you can see -3 would make this numerator equal to 0. But again, that's in this larger denominator. So it cannot equal -3. Could also not equal a -3/2 or a +3/2. And basically all you're doing is taking every denominator and setting it equal to 0. Those are the values that are going to make your denominator equal to 0, which are going to be restricted, okay? But this first example, I'm just going to hold off on that because I want you to see this is a fraction divided by another fraction, just like we had up here, okay? So all I simply want to do is just multiply by the reciprocal. Because when I multiply by a 2x plus 3 all over an x plus 3, right, that is just the exact same fraction, just reciprocated. So we know when I multiply it, it's going to go to 1. And then I have to make sure I do it up top though, right? Because we have to produce an equivalent fraction. So therefore, Now I just know that goes to 1, so I'm just left with what's up here. Well, here you can see, since we're now separating on this multiplication, since we're now multiplying everything together, you can see these expressions are separated by multiplication. I can divide out our common terms, right? Or using the division property, the same expression divided by itself is going to equal to 1. Now, these two expressions have the same values, like 2x, and a 3, but one's positive, one's negative. So since they're not exactly the same, that is going to be my simplified result. So 2x plus 3 divided by a 2x minus 3. And then we can write it with our restricted values. X cannot equal a negative 3. And then we also have a plus or minus a 3 halves, right? Because again, when we took each of these denominators, set them equal to 0, we know those are going to make it 0, so those are not going to be included in our solution. All right, let's go and take a look at another example, and this one, so obviously when you have a fraction divided by fraction, you can just kind of go through that result. But let's take a look at something that would be a little bit more complicated, but still relatively easy to approach. And this one's going to be a 3 times x plus 5 divided by 2 times x minus 3 plus a 1 over a x plus 5. Okay, now this one can get pretty confusing when we are trying to understand our common denominator. All right. Now, whenever I'm dealing, there's a couple ways we could approach this fraction, but I'm going to approach it the way that I like to teach this in my class, or at least my favorite approach, and that is to get rid of the fractions. Okay. So I want to be able to find an expression that both of my denominators are going to divide into. That would be our LCD of these polynomials, the x plus 5 and x minus 3. So the easiest way to find the LCD is going to be when they don't share any products or any multiples together, would simply just be the product of them. So what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to multiply every single expression. I want to go back to red. I want to multiply every single expression by the LCD, which would be x plus 5 times a x minus 3. Because again, does x plus 5 divide into that product? Yeah, it divides into the x plus 5, right? One time. And then we're still left with an x minus 3. And then I'm going to do that over here. And then I'm going to do it over here. So you got to make sure, just like we did it with the equations or the linear equations up here, you have to make sure you multiply times every single expression, okay? Otherwise, we're not producing equivalent equations. In this example, we're creating equivalent fractions. So I need to multiply this LCD times all of these, okay? Now what's going to happen is those will divide out, right? They divide into itself. This divides into itself, and this divides into itself. So now I'm just going to be left with a 3 times x minus 3. So that's going to be a 3 times x minus 3. Let's actually simplify that out. So it's a 3x minus 9. I have a 2, so a 2x plus a 10. And then over here, it's just going to be a x minus a 3. Okay, now I can go ahead and simplify that a little bit further. Sorry, that's a plus, right? Forgot that plus right there. So 2x plus x is a 3x, 10 minus a 3 is going to be a 7. So I'm left with my final result as 3x minus 9 divided by a 3x plus 7. Okay, now again, we need to go back to our restricted values, right? We know x cannot equal the values that originally make my denominator equal to 0. So x cannot equal a negative 5, a positive 3, and then also we got to look at this result, right? Take 3x plus 7, set it equal to 0, and then solve for x, right? This value cannot equal 0, which is going to be a negative 7/3. So those are going to be your restricted values. We want to make sure you do them. So again, like usually just finding that common denominator is really where a lot of students will get mixed up. But again, unless you're dealing with something that they have in common, like for instance, if the other denominator, or if one of the other denominators was like an x squared, let's see, plus 2x minus a 15, right? You just want to be able to factor that out. You don't want to combine them together. But fortunately, usually in the chapter on rational expressions, we go over finding common denominators for polynomials and binomials a lot. So hopefully it'll get a little bit easier for you. So let's go and take a look at another kind of simplistic problem that we can work through. and just kind of see how we would go about simplifying the expression. Okay, now they look very similar. And actually in this approach, I'm actually going to do this two different ways, because you could have done this problem two different ways too, but I wanted just to do it eliminating the denominator. All right, so the first way, I'm going to eliminate the denominator just like I did in the last example, okay? And so what that means is I need to understand, well, what are all my denominators? I can rewrite 2 as 2 over 1. I can rewrite a 1 as 1 over 1. And I can say, all right, what is the smallest expression number that all of these are going to divide into? That is simply just going to be an x. So I'm going to multiply every single one of these expressions by x. Okay, that is again producing my equivalent fraction. So in this case, I'm going to be left with a 2x minus 1 divided by a x plus 1. And then look at, there you go. We are all done. Okay, now again, we also have to understand what are going to be our restricted solutions. We know x cannot equal 0 because that would make those two denominators equal 0. And then also we know x cannot equal -1 because that makes that simplified version. Okay. Now, what would be another way that we could do this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, these are just fractions, right? So if you like that, if you like this first example that I covered, where you have a fraction over a fraction and then you just reciprocate, then here's a great way you can approach this problem. All you simply need to do is just get common denominators. So if I have a 2 minus a 1x all over a 1 plus a 1 over x, just combine the fractions, right? So I can multiply this as an x over x, and I can multiply this by an x over x. So what that's going to now produce is a 2x over x minus a 1 over x. And then over here, this is a x over x plus a 1 over x. Now I can combine them, and what that's going to give me is a 2x minus 1 over x divided by a x plus 1 over x. And now you can see I have a fraction divided by a fraction, and I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite that as the product, right? So therefore I can rewrite this as a 2x minus 1 over x times a x over x plus 1. And obviously those are going to divide out. So it's going to leave you with the final answer of 2x minus 1 all over a x plus 1, which, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we had here. Now, again, this might have been a little bit more steps, and that's why I do like just getting rid of the denominators. But let's be honest with you guys, it's not about making things the fastest at this point. It's about understanding what you're doing, understanding how to approach different problems and not making mistakes. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. If you want to see some more complex fractions that you absolutely need to know in preparation for your test in your whatever class you're taking, then check out the next video I have for you here. And if you want more practice on simplifying complex or rational expressions, then check out the other videos I have in the description down below. Cheers.